As Jamarcus's parents have kind of told you, they've been given the runaround since this happened. They got a call that said he was just stuck on the elevator and everything was going to be okay. And then they get a call that said he didn't make it. And yet they still haven't had a chance to see their son's body. They've been given different stories. They've been shown edited videos. And so our job at the Cochran firm with Attorney Hurd is to make sure we get full answers. We haven't filed any lawsuits. I know y'all want to know that. We don't know what happened to even file a lawsuit. We need to know everything that happened, why it happened, and we're going to hold every entity, every individual who's responsible for that accountable. I'll take a few questions.
Well, I'd like to know from the family, how did they feel when the management of the apartment complex blamed the players? Is it okay to hear from them about that aspect of this?
Mr. Boyce, do you have any comments on that?
I thought if you could stand here for a second, I just want to ask you one question.
He just wants to know how you felt when they were blaming the kids and your son that it was too much weight on the elevator.
I thought it was ridiculous.
Please come up here. You can.
I thought it was ridiculous. It didn't make any sense to me. I didn't see how you could make a bunch of kids responsible for an elevator falling.
And this was right after. It's like they didn't do an investigation to determine that. They went straight to, oh, this is the problem.
Yeah.
Can you tell us more about Jamarcus?
Well, other than him being about an average kid, happy, you know, happy-go-lucky type guy, if you would. I like to refer to him as a gentle bear, you know, because he's a big old guy. He looked real intimidating, but really he's real gentle underneath.
Now, I understand that back home, you come from a small community, right?
Yes, sir.
Everybody was looking forward to him going out and do great things. This was big there. Was that true?
That is. Everybody was proud of him. They were so happy that he had made the move. They was encouraging him all the way.
And then when they heard this, have you heard any reaction back home?
Everybody's devastated.
What was your reaction as a stepfather when he made this move and he had those hopes of going to a big university?
I couldn't comprehend it because actually, when I got the first call pertaining to Jamarcus, I asked, was Jamarcus okay? He said he was stuck in the elevator. I said, when is he okay? Is he hurt or anything like that? And he said, oh, he's fine. We're just waiting on the fire people to come and get him out the elevator. So she was in New Madrid, and I was getting ready to head back to work, and I was like, well, okay, Jamarcus is stuck in the elevator, but they say he's fine, he's okay, he's not hurt or nothing, so I'm gonna go on to work. And so she stayed in New Madrid, and I was headed on to work. Then I get a call and say he didn't make it. And said, what do you mean he didn't make it? He was stuck inside of a box in the elevator. How would he not make it? He said he had a heart attack. I said, okay, well, I guess he could have panicked in the elevator and he might have had a heart attack. That sounds plausible. So I told everybody he had a heart attack. So that was.
How has the support been from the community and everybody back home after hearing about this?
Tremendous.
You mentioned you've seen videos, edited videos. What kind of videos have you seen? Just the players on the elevator?
Yeah, we have requested to preserve all evidence from all parties involved, including the school, the apartment management company, the apartment owners. We have sent Freedom of Information requests and open records requests to all law enforcement. We've gotten some of that information. I will tell you, for the purposes of this being a potential litigation case, we've seen video, the family's seen video that was shown to them by the school. Where that video came from, we don't know quite yet, but we do believe it was altered or doctored. At the end of the day, this shouldn't have happened. There's no excuse for it, and we will get to the bottom line. It's my understanding that under Georgia law, that elevator has to stay out of commission until a full inspection is done by the state. We have in letter form, and we're gonna do it publicly here. We're asking the apartment complex and the owners of that place do nothing to that elevator or those parts until we have a chance to have our own elevator expert and other experts, which have already been retained in this case, to inspect that property. We have specifically asked for that inspection ASAP.
Just a few things I was hoping you could flesh out. One, you said you guys are disputing that there were 16 people in that elevator. Even Atlanta Fire, though, on their social media platforms, and they put out initial details of this call, they listed 16 rescued plus 1 trapped or pinned.
We don't believe it's 16 people
What
from our
number have
witness.
you guys come to, and how did you come to that number?
We haven't come to a number. We don't believe the 16 is right.
Okay, and then as far as failed inspections, if you can help me out there, I saw the records for this elevator. The last failed inspection I can see, if my memory is correct, I think it was 2014 or 2015. Is that the same number you have? Do you have anything under the current owner?
I know that there's multiple failed inspections. We'll deal with it when we get more in the case. But the reality of it is, more importantly, even days before this incident with Jamarcus, there were issues with that elevator and elevators in that building. So regardless how far it goes back, the most important date is the day before this happened, because they were on notice that there were a problem.
And as far as the edited video, who are you claiming edited that video?
Don't know yet. I just know my clients did not look at the full video.
Are you able to expound on why you believe the weight limit was not an issue? Is there a reason that?
Yeah,
it's on video or-
there's a specific regulation and safety accordance for elevators. And the weight requirement is not 3,000 pounds as this manager claims. It's 3,000 times a percentage. So the amount of people that could be on that elevator actually exceeds almost up to 4,000 pounds. Say 3,000 pounds, that's not the actual weight. It's actually 3,000 gross weight pounds or 18 people. Either way, whether it's 16, 10, 12, whether it's 3,000 pounds in that place, which it wasn't, they met the requirements. There was enough, the individuals in there from their weight as well as the number should not have caused this elevator to break or crash unless it was not properly maintained. So that's not an issue. I want you guys to hear from Denoris Hurd. I told you about Attorney Hurd. He's representing the family as well. I want to give him a chance to talk with you guys.
Good afternoon, briefly. Sorry about my tardiness. This is a tragedy. We have a young man, Mr. McFarland, that was coming here to better himself. Graduated from New Madrid High School, 2021, coming down to Atlanta. Hopes, aspirations that the academy is going to bring to him. Nothing he did was wrong that day. But unfortunately, something happened. And this tragedy is what we're going to get down to the bottom of. We will be seeking justice in this matter. I mean, these are some great people, humble people. He was a humble person. You know, from everything we've researched and looked at and people we talked to, great spirit. Really enjoyed being around this young man. You know, at his balloon release, we're talking about a plethora of people that were there just because they loved him. So we want to make sure we get down to this matter and get some justice for this young man. Fortunately, in this situation, there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of layers to this. I'm listening to the questions that you guys are asking. A lot of these questions can't be answered. We get that's go come from the state, go come from the academy, and what have you. But we're definitely going to get down to the bottom of this and make sure we get a just resolution for this family and be able to get some justice for Mr. McFarland.
We'll take a couple more questions.
Wait for the results of the state investigation from the insurance commissioners. Investigation. Why start that now?
We don't have that luxury.
Right.
As you've heard from Mr. Boyce, they've been given the runaround, and we can't, and we don't have a duty. We have a duty to this family. We have a duty to Jamarcus and his legacy to immediately start the investigation. We can't trust that anybody from the state or anybody from the city is going to do everything we need to do. So we have already spoken to witnesses. We've already gotten statements. We've already retained our own experts. We have already gotten information to support our position that Jamarcus did nothing wrong. None of those kids did anything wrong. And the people who have failed this young man were the people that this family entrusted him to. That is this school, that is this apartment complex, that is this management company. And if there's any other maintenance people that was inspecting that should have done something different, if that elevator was defective, we're gonna get to the bottom of it, because they deserve that answer.
Do you know who was giving them this information, this narrative, that it was just he was just stuck and all of that?
Someone from the school.
You mentioned, his legacy. I don't know if you wanted to speak about what legacy he leaves behind and just, you know, when you think of him, what's one thing that really is gonna, stand out to you guys?
Every picture I've seen of him, he's smiling. As Mr. Boyce described, he was a big teddy bear. His legacy is this family. He has 3 other siblings. He has a niece. He has family and friends. He has a girlfriend that he really, really loved, and she loved him. His legacy that he lost was a future that goes beyond playing football. I played college football. I was not as good or as big as he was, but the sky's the limit when you give yourself a chance to play football and to attend a college. And the sky's was the limit for this young man. And we're talking to him in past tense today because some people just did not take the time to do the right thing. As Sam said, the law is clear. You have a duty to provide a safe premises. What's so tragic about this is they were so quick to take this family's money and all these other kids on that team's money for the rent and to live there, but wasn't quick to call the state. Hey, we haven't had an inspection. We need an inspection. Hey, we got issues with this elevator. People are complaining. Come do something about it. And that's why it's so disturbing that the first thing that comes out of this management's mouth is that this is somebody else's fault. No, Jamarcus wasn't there when you didn't call the state. These kids weren't there. When you got your money, you didn't say, hey, let's blame somebody else. They're blaming everybody but failing to accept responsibility for their own actions. But we're going to hold them accountable.